You guys, I got a new palette and I am so excited to try it out today. So I haven't gotten a new palette since October, I think. So it's been like 6 months, almost 7. And what I bought was a little To Me From Me birthday present. This is from Viseart. It's their Violette Vespertine palette. It's 12 pan. Oh, I just ran my fingernail through one of those shades. I was looking at a few different palettes on Viseart's website. It was really hard for me to pick which one was going to come home with me, but I just thought that this was such a pretty color story. It's got a little bit of depth going on. There's some more sultry, deeper looks you could do, but I also thought that this row of like mauve toned neutrals would be really lovely and easy to use for every day. So today is Saturday. I'm probably just going to be doing some gardening, but I figured it's a Saturday. I have nowhere to be. Why not go just full glam today to really see what this palette can do? So I think we're going to do that. I will also be swatching all of the shades in the palette towards the end of the video. So let's get started. I have my brows done. I have a little bit of concealer on my chin. Otherwise, I am barefaced. I think, one second, let me get things organized. Okay, figured you guys didn't need to hear me trying to get my brushes in a place where they were easily accessible. So I think I'm going to start out with this like deep plummy cranberry shade. I feel like this is going to really make my eyes pop in a way that I probably wouldn't go for like for every day or going to work, but oh, that is a beautiful shadow. So I just went in with a shader brush for that. Now I'm putting it, I don't know, on the like center 2/3 of my lid probably. I figure I will probably want something matte in that outer corner, and then I don't want to bring it too far in because that could just look like a straight up black eye really quickly. Building that up a little bit more on this side because I feel like it's just not quite as even. Yeah, that's pretty. That'll be a nice liner shade for my lower lash line too. Okay, cool. Now I think let's move on. Actually, let's just try that outer corner shade. I think I'm going to use this, which looks like a deep purple. Has a little bit of red in it as well. So I think it'll go really well. Probably could have chosen a smaller brush to do this with, but oh well, it's still working out okay. And one thing I've noticed in the past with Viseart mattes is that they tend to be really easy to blend. So even though I haven't been very neat in my application, I don't think that is going to stop me from getting a nice final product. Okay, so at this point, I think I want to start working on the crease and just in general, buffing some of this really dark shadow out. So I think for my very first crease shade, I'm going to start with this. I feel like that'll be an easier transition than some of the shades up here, but we'll give it a go. They do really have a nice gradient of matte shades in here. That's something that I feel is missing from the Petite Pro palettes that I have, which, you know, they are small palettes. It makes sense that they would not have every option under the sun, but sometimes I feel like there's really only like one easy matte for me to put in the crease. This, I think, has a lot more options. I feel like things are getting a little bit muddy on me, which that could also just be that I don't clean my brushes nearly as often as I should. But that's at least starting to blend. I think I took things a little bit further up than I really wanted. So instead of going with another like a deep or darker than my skin tone shade, I think I'm going to use this light pink. I love shades like this because they are actually really brightening on my skin tone, and they are like a magic eraser. They can soften up any shadow that got a little bit too crazy. They really help with that blend back into my skin color. I just think they're such a workhorse shade. They also work quite well as a brow bone highlight, though I don't think I'm going to do that today because, let's admit it, I've already got eyeshadow all the way up to my eyebrows, but I'm pretty into it. I feel like I'm going to go back into a little bit of that red and really build that up again. I feel like I'm losing some of the shine. I might end up wetting my brush and applying some more towards the end. We'll see how I'm feeling once we get a little bit closer to that. So next up, I think let's figure out that lower lash line. I think I want to save the inner corner for the very end. So for the lower lash line, I think we're going to start with actually a smaller brush. I have this little smudger brush from Luxie that is almost in between a liner brush and a smudger brush. It's thin enough that I feel like I can use it for liner too. So I'm just going to stamp that along my lower lash line. Only taking that, what, maybe halfway in. And then I'll do the same on the other side. Okay, I just pushed one of my eyelashes into my eye. Goodness. Okay, so for a little bit more on that lower lash line, I have a pencil brush, and I'm going to go with this shade. Which shade did I point to? This one. I am a mess this morning. And I'm going to put that just below. Okay. I feel like my right eye always ends up just looking much neater than my left eye does because I feel like I have more control on this side. But, oh well. So, okay, interesting choice of brush that I have left, but it'll work for my purposes. So I have another little smudger brush, And now we have to decide what's going in the inner corner. And I'm kind of thinking this pink could be fun. I do feel like any color in this palette could be used in a very cohesive look with every other color in this palette, which was another thing that drew me to it. I felt like there was a lot of possibility for creativity that would not end in tears. And sometimes I need that guardrail of everything will end up working okay together in order to try being creative. Because sometimes when I see a palette that has just so many options, I chicken out a little bit and I just go with things that are like right next to each other or will obviously be okay. I'm really enjoying the effect of this light pink over the red. I like that color a lot. Isn't that pretty? So now for the other eye. Is this kind of a lot to be gardening and maybe go to Walmart? Yeah, but I'm pretty into it. I think this is turning out so well. Okay. So I like the way that is turning out. I think I need to do a little bit more blending over here. So I'm going to go back with my magic eraser and just go over that area a little bit more. Okay. I feel like I'm wearing a lot of eye makeup, but it's this sort of eye makeup where like I've gone far enough that I just need to go all the way now. So I'm going to go in with this plum liner. I'm probably going to apply this off camera because I didn't think about bringing a standalone mirror. But I'm going to put it on my upper lash line as well as line my waterline with it. So while I was gone, I also took the opportunity to put on some mascara. And you guys, I am loving the way this is turning out. I feel like my eyes look very bold and very green, and the eye makeup feels actually not that berry anymore. It feels neutral, leaning purple. I think this is such a pretty look. I'm going to finish off the rest of my face and keep things pretty light. So I brought out my favorite palette for when I want to keep the rest of my face pretty easy. This is the Balm The Girls Getaway Trio. And I really love this color in particular because on me this is a very like blushy, bronzery shade. And it just makes it really easy to watch me talk about how easy this is and then put on far too much. Story of my life over here. Let's take another look at that and see. Okay, that's not as bad as it looked for a second. Okay. I like how this kind of reads as today just blush for some reason, but let's add a little bit of the true bronzer shade, which is Balm Desert. I'm just going to go over the blush entirely. I have heard other people describe Balm Desert, which is that more brown shade, as a blush bronzer. I don't feel that it has much pink to it. or much ruddiness. I feel that, at least on my skin tone. Balm Beach is more of a blush bronzer, and then this is like a true bronzer shade, but to each their own. Okay. Went a little more heavy on the cheeks than I intended to, but that's okay. We're going to put just a little bit of this MAC lipstick on. This is Bated Breath. And I am just dabbing a little on. So that's giving me the color that I want. I also want a little bit of shine on the lips. So I brought out this Kosas lip oil. I thought this would be a little bit too warm by itself because I knew that this look was going to pull a little bit cool tone and a little bit purple, but I wanted like the easy breeziness of a lip oil. And I also needed the moisture because I forgot to put on lip balm before I went to sleep last night. And at some point, I've become reliant on having lip balm to have like lips that work the next day. So this is the final look. I am really very happy with how it's turned out. I feel really cute today. Now, before we end the video, let's swatch the entire palette. So we're going to start with the top row. I don't believe that these shades have names, which I actually prefer. I don't care for keeping names straight in a palette. Now that lightest shade is pretty close to my skin tone, so it's not really showing up. The other ones are showing up and have a pretty nice smooth texture to them. They're not crazy pigmented, but if they end up being like any of the other Viseart mattes that I've had, they will be pretty easy to build up and very easy to blend. I don't know how I thought I was nicely going to swatch 12 eyeshadows with my 10 fingers without a makeup wipe, but somehow I thought that was going to happen. Now we have a wipe, so this will go a little bit more smoothly. Next we have the row of shimmers. I am so excited to see how this purple swatches out. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but in person, this is just absolutely the focal point of the palette. My eye goes to it every time I look at it. And they look really promising. Ooh, that's pretty. It's not as bold purple as I thought it might be, but I think that'll almost be a little bit easier to wear for every day. And then the pink that I'm wearing today, gorgeous. We have this sort of pewtery shade. So pretty. I am just very impressed with the color story. And it seems like the shadow quality is going to be really good as well. For the last row, we have these two mattes that I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of. The cranberry and then that deep purple, which is the deepest shade in the palette. That looks almost more brown swatched out than red, doesn't it? And then that looks so chalky in a swatch, but I mean, I'm wearing it. It wasn't hard to work with. So pretty. I am really looking forward to getting to know this palette a little bit better. I think I'm going to be really happy with it, and so far, so good. I love the look that I came up with today. Looking at myself in the viewfinder like a narcissist, I really see my eyes and they feel very bold and bright, and I love that. I wish I was doing something more than going to Walmart today. Maybe I'll have to find something else to add to my schedule. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've tried this palette and what you think of it. I don't know if I highlighted this earlier, but there is this really pretty vine embossing over the palette. It's going to be really dirty really fast because this matte packaging just attracts fingerprints, but for right now, it's very, very pretty. So, okay, now I've got to actually end this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.